Is this on? Oh, there we go. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to CSL Cape Coral. Time for meditation this morning. My name is Karen Gidley, and I am a licensed practitioner here. My honor this morning to do the meditation. So, as we begin to settle ourselves into this moment, just taking a nice deep breath to relax. Rest into this moment, just leaving all that hustle bustle behind, knowing that everything is unfolding in divine order. So as we close our eyes, center into that heart space. And focus on your breath. Breathing in the white light, that cleansing white light. And as that breath comes in, it's cleansing every cell in the body. So just exhale love. Send out that love to the world and to the universe. And as this week we start Tuesday celebrating, actually this weekend we'll start celebrating, but the 4th of July, the freedom. And as we go into this meditation, imagine yourself right now just walking along a quiet path, noticing the ground that you're stepping on, that's grounding you, keeping you grounded. And maybe you're walking on pebbles or dirt or crunching of the leaves, whatever that path is. It is beautiful. Noticing the flowers along the way and the grass that's growing up and the wind that is blowing the blades of grass and the flowers just swaying back and forth, and listening to the birds chirping all around. And noticing the blue sky above with some of those beautiful cotton ball clouds just drifting slowly by. Just knowing that freedom of just being in this place of beauty that you create, that it is all beauty supplied by the oneness, that source. Knowing my peace is found at the heart of God, at that source, that infinite intelligence. Peace resides. And that peace, that divine source, is found at the very center of the being, of my being, of your being. That very center, that divine source. It does not matter how closely the confusion of the outer world presses against me. I am not even disturbed by the confusion in my immediate environment. I know the only way to counteract confusion is to bring peace into play. And gently focusing on your breath again, breathing in the white light and gently exhaling love. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give unto you the divine Spirit. I surrender all of my fears, those nameless fears which have beset me for such a long time, dulling my pleasure and clouding with misery and apprehension all the days. I am now through with fear. I am a divine and immortal being, and so is every other being on this planet. I recognize the one life principle working in and through and inspiring the motives of everyone I contact. I do not fear sickness, disease, or death, because the eternal and perfect life animates my body. And always goes about its perfect work, healing and renewing that body. I am not afraid of want or lack, for the one infinite essence supplies me with everything I need all of the time. There is nothing for me to fear, for I am an inseparable part of God. I live in God, God lives in me, and I draw upon this perfect peace. And now we'll take a few moments to go into silent meditation. As you bring yourself back into this room, feeling the chair beneath you, knowing that this week the freedom that is expressed through my cells, my body, and that peace and joy is expressed from myself and for each and every one here. And as you bring yourself back into this room, wiggle your toes and your fingers, and when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Namaste. And we will see you at 10:30 for the Sunday celebration. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cape Coral. It's so wonderful to see all you beautiful light beings out there. And I know we have light beings watching on the internet, so either Facebook or YouTube. So welcome, everyone. We're so happy that you're here, and we're going to introduce the Big Love Band here in a second, but we were talking about freedom this morning and the 4th of July weekend. So, in order to celebrate, I was going out and I was shopping around for fireworks, and I went to this firework place, and I went to that firework place, and my friend says to me, she says, "What are you doing all this going here and there?" And I said, "Well, I'm just trying to get more bang for my buck." But I'm bump. So with that corny joke, I would love to introduce one of my favorite local bands, the Big Love Band.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We want y'all to stand and join us. You know we love the participation.
Yeah. I think we all know this one, right?
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded who we come to be. We are love, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are one, we are one. One big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Let's go, Scott.
Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. I mean, you guys better be up and having your blood circulating after that. That's awesome. So we just want you to know, wherever you are on your spiritual path, you are welcome here. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy, and we teach the universal truths found in all spiritual teachings, both traditional and contemporary, anything from the Bible to Deepak Chopra, Joe Dispenza, Bruce Lipton, Wayne Dyer, all those people, Louise Hay. There's so many people that have influenced how we look at life and create our life, actually. So if you want more information, please visit our website at cslcapecoral.org for information on upcoming events, to submit your prayer request, or to send your comments and questions. And with that, we're going to, thank you today for Linda for taking the high watch for today's service. This is that Linda is maintaining a high consciousness through meditation, realizing wellness for the community and the highest and best for the attendees, service teams, and guest speaker. And so with that, we're going to go to the Big Love Band again. Woohoo!
We're kind of doing a little hit workout this morning. We're going to raise your calories and burn calories, then we're going to slow it down with this song, and then we're going to raise it up again. So just be forewarned that that's the kind of workout we're doing this morning. But feel free if you'd like to sit for this song, or you can stand in kind of a meditative state if you'd like. It's a beautiful song.
There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. Simple as love inside you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names. But different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. Remember once we close our eyes to see, such distances are never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul, it's your sign, it's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power,
It's the sunshine on your face. It's the birthright of all nations. It's the boundlessness of space. It's one power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one
Well. That is powerful. Pun intended. But so let's all stand and welcome each other and bestow a blessing on each other. I usually rub my hands together, get the blood and the energy flowing, the chi. And so we're going to say, turn to each other and say, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. We know who you truly are. You are the spiritual image and likeness of God. We appreciate you, we love you, and we are thankful you are here. Welcome to the center. Woo! And one more, speaking of love, because we love that you're here, one more song from the Big Love Band right now, Love Train.
All right, so this is also participatory if you like. So we might have someone coming around. Actually, Dawn's perfect for this, too.
Ooh, yeah, there we go. Now we're talking.
Start that conga line. People all over the world,
Everybody,
join hands,
come on,
start a love train,
go on now.
love train. People all over the
All
world,
over the world now.
join hands,
Ride this train.
start a love train,
Love ride.
love train.
Next stop that we make will be in England. Tell all the folks in Russia and China too. Woo! Don't you know that it's time to get on board and let this train keep on riding, riding on through.
Well,
People all over the world,
everybody,
join hands,
join in.
start a love train,
Love train.
love train. People all over the
All over
world,
the world now.
join hands,
Love ride.
start a love train,
Love ride.
love train.
All of your brothers over in Africa.
Go see us.
Tell all the folks in Egypt and Israel too. Please don't miss this train at the station. 'Cause if you miss it, I feel sorry, sorry for you. Well, hell,
People all over the world,
everybody,
join hands,
join
start a love train,
the train.
love train. People all over
All
the
over
world,
the world now.
join hands.
Love
Start
ride.
a love train,
Love
love train, ride.
Let it ride.
Let it ride.
Oh, come on, let's ride.
Ride, let it ride.
Come on now.
People all over the world,
Everybody,
join hands.
come on.
Start a love
Join this
train,
train.
love train.
Hey, come
People
on.
all over the
People all
world,
over the world,
join hands.
join in now.
Start a love train,
Love train.
love train. People all over the
Oh,
world,
don't need no
join
ticket.
hands.
Ride this
Start a
train.
love train,
Come on.
love train. People all over the world,
Everybody,
join hands.
ride this train.
Start a love
Come
train,
on.
love train.
Woo, very good.
Look at that love train out there. Good job. Great idea, Brian.
Holy cow. Well, that concludes our service for today. You can all leave here on a very high vibe and go have fun. No, that's part of our freedom, that we get to have fun, that we are able to have fun and enjoy this life that we create. So at this time, the youth are ready to go. They are. I think they left once and came back to join the dance. So, and then I'm going to turn it over to the beautiful, lovely Valerie Data. And you know what, Valerie, she's so wonderful. Reverend Chris put up some plaques this past week, and when I looked up there was Valerie's name from 2003. That means that Valerie has been serving this center for at least 20 years that I can tell.
Thank you, Bea. That was very, very sweet. I came to the center 1980. Yeah. And then I left for a while. Minister passed away. It was a lot of change. I went through divorce. It was a lot of change. But eventually I was determined that my children be brought up in this faith. So I came back in, I don't know, the early 90s, I think, to stay. Thank you. It's my pleasure, my pleasure. And an honor to do the reading this morning. On my phone. So the monthly theme, new month, is speaking truth to circumstance. And my first short reading is from a book by Owen Waters. We used to carry his book here, The Human Shift, or The Rebellion and Human Shift. I can't remember the title. But he has a wonderful website called Infinite Being. And I get it every Sunday, comes up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And this morning, he was speaking about his new book, Soul Inspiration. People often think that life brings challenges that make them victims of circumstance, that they have no power to change the important things in life. Nothing could be further from the truth. They have simply underestimated the infinite power of their divine potential. And now a reading from the notes that came from headquarters. Despite appearances, nothing is greater than the infinite presence. One alone in consciousness with the infinite constitutes a complete majority. When we attempt to fight outside circumstances, we only give those circumstances power in our mind. The practitioner does not fight evil. They know there is no evil. When we engage in fighting with the outer, we are caught up in belief in separation and have lost faith in the infinite oneness. This does not mean we sit on our prayer chairs and do nothing. It means we first gain the high perspective so we can be most effective in our actions. And lastly, once we are alone in consciousness with the infinite, we are tapped into a power greater than we are. And so now let us take this time to go into prayer, but this is our time for holding someone or a situation in the light. So please bring into your mind and heart the person or situation as we enter a few moments of silence. And so now recognizing the one infinite divine intelligence one power, one presence, ever present. I recognize that everything is at hand right here in this beautiful celebration of life, celebration of truth, and celebration of community, as we each open our hearts and minds to receive that which is right for us. So I bless everything about this celebration, and I release my word into the law where I know it's already done. So let us anchor it in prayer by saying, "And so it is." Thank you. And now it is my great pleasure to welcome our speaker, our one and only Reverend Chris Lahiff.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Valerie. Good morning, everybody. So good to see you again. And right on cue, I've got my reminders set up so that I don't forget something as monumental as the 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, happy birthday, America. And I find it fitting that, as we're speaking truth to circumstance, that we're also celebrating the 4th of July. Just because, we say we are the home of the brave. Well, thinking back to 1776 when they signed the Declaration of Independence, talk about speaking truth to circumstance and standing in your power and your knowing. It was pretty monumental that, signing your name on that was essentially kind of signing your own death warrant. So we are the home of the brave, and in God we trust. Well, that God is within us, in all of us. And so speaking truth to circumstance is our theme for the month, and I think it's just fitting that as the birth of our nation, that's what we have stood by throughout this entire time. We don't let the small things get in the way, or sometimes the big things. So I want you to think about, for just a second, all year long, our global theme, it's, living life out loud. So I'm curious, where everybody's taken this. My guess is that there's a lot of people who were already living life out loud, already kind of following their inspiration, following their bliss, and so us getting up here and talking about living your life out loud was kind of just maybe reaffirming. And then I'm also hoping that there are some people that already kind of had some ideas of what living life out loud might mean for them individually. And then as we started to talk about it, thinking back all the way through the months, we talked about curiosity, becoming curious about what makes us tick. And then, authenticity, vulnerability, being willing to put yourself out there. Because sometimes, living life out loud, you're exposing yourself to possible ridicule or being, shunned from your family, people that, get uncomfortable around you. So I'm hoping that some people got this idea of living life out loud and you already had, what that thing is, that next thing, because, these things change and we grow and evolve. But then I'm also guessing that there's some people that this resonates with, but then, maybe when we leave after Sunday service, we don't necessarily think about, what is it that is living life out loud for me? It's a good message, it sounds good, but then I just go right back into my normal life, and I go about my week, and nothing changes. We call that, drive-by Sunday spirituality. But we are a philosophy of faith, but most importantly, a way of life is what we practice in the science of mind. And so we really want to encourage us all to lean into this. We're halfway through this year. So right now, wherever you're at, I just want you to take a second, and however you like to go with it, and if you like to close your eyes, go for it, but just whatever, just take a second. What does living life out loud, what does that mean to you? Just take a second. All right, so I don't know. I'm curious, if anybody has that thing already there, if they're already doing it, or the other thing with that is a lot of times as we go through life and we get, up there in years, the magic seems to fade a little bit. The dreams, kind of lose some of their luster. And quite often, people feel like I'm kind of there at the end and there's not too much more that I need to be pursuing. So an idea like this might even seem foreign. But I have the strong belief that all of us, that everybody has a yearning, that there's a yearning within for something, that still small voice, that desire that's within us, those ideas that come to us individually of what we can do, what we would like to experience, what we would like to express out in that world, that we all have that. And now the other thing is, a lot of times when we get to that place and we're unsure, I want to introduce this idea, like if you don't know what living life out loud looks like to you, because this is all about the journey. When we say living life out loud, it's not that end destination that is some sort of prize. The prize is in the journey. So I want to encourage us. If we don't know what that thing that, living life out loud is, then that becomes our thing. If we don't know what we're passionate about to spend our passion on, then let's get passionate about discovering what our passion is. So wherever we're at, I'm really strongly believing and guessing that everybody has something within them that just says, yes, I'm still breathing, so clearly there's still more for me to do. There's always something for us to do, and that comes from this divine urge within us. That's how the infinite spirit shows up as us. It is always, always moving us forward. But then as we start to lean into this idea of living life out loud, and we come up with, okay, you know what? Yeah, I don't care what anybody says anymore. I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to go do this thing. It can be big, it could be small, however you label it. None of that has any matter in the mind of spirit in the universe. But when we start to think of that, then all of a sudden here comes the circumstances, all the reasons why we can't do that thing. But that's all they are, is circumstances. The world of effect. Ernest Holmes teaches us in The Science of Mind that everything begins in mind, and that's cause. That's where things begin. The world is cause and effect. Circumstances are all effect. And those things can all be overcome, but they can be overwhelming at times. And also, circumstances for one person can be very different than what they are for another person. It's easy for me to stand up here and to kind of, just spout my mouth and say, just do it. Think positive, pray, meditate, go do it. But I also have to acknowledge, we all have our own unique life history, our own ways of society that can put barriers where for one person there's a barrier, for other people maybe not. So I want to also acknowledge that take everything I say with a grain of salt. But most importantly, I want you to listen to your heart. And do you feel this power? Because as we know, there's people that have done amazing things against all odds. So we know things are possible. Now, as we use these tools, for some people, it might work perfectly right away. For other people, they might work at it and not necessarily hit that end prize that we're talking about, or that I mentioned earlier, because that's not the thing anyway. It's about the joy. But recognizing that the people that did surmount all those odds, they drew on something bigger. They drew on that within them. They knew. They knew in their mind that they could do what it was that they were setting out to do, and they didn't give up. So we can take inspiration from those people. And wherever we're at, I also want to acknowledge that there is no such thing as big or small. So when we are addressing circumstances to the infinite, of which we are, that power that's within us, the one power, small or big does not mean anything. It is infinite, and we have that. Now, I came across a quote. So we're into about week 4 of the class from whence we came, and it's History of New Thought. But the first 4 weeks are all about Ernest Holmes, and we're studying a book called The Philosophy of Ernest Holmes. And I had never seen this one before, and I'm loving it. because it was compiled from talks that he gave in his later years when he was approaching his transition. And so it's very approachable, and as you're reading it, you can hear his voice in the way he speaks. And this quote that we came across, so I'm going to read it out loud for anybody that can't see it. It says, "The laughter of a child is as important to the universe as the creation of a planet." There's no difference. It's all that expression. Now, I've got the context for this because to see where the quote comes from is also powerful. He'd just gotten done with a paragraph saying that genius is within everybody. Everybody has genius within them. It's that same thing. It's that infinite power, and we all have it. Our mind is an extension of the one mind, and so we all have it. He also addressed that sometimes, even like beginning at birth, things can come in that might alter that genius or seem to block it, but it's still there at all times. So this is the whole paragraph. I'm going to read it. Bear with me. For anybody that can't see it, I'd like to read it out loud. It says, "Genius, the possibility of everything, all that God is, all that the universe has, exists solely that this rose shall bloom, that this man may paint this picture, that this girl may now go out and sing, that a child may make a mud cake and a mother nurse her baby. All of these. Isn't that a magnificent concept? The trivial is not incidental. It is merely the mode of manifestation of all things. The laughter of a child is as important to the universe as the creation of a planet." So that thing that's within us, that living life out loud, that inspiration that's within us, it's just as important as the creation of a planet. And we can sit and let that just be there and never get expressed, and it feels like we all miss out a little bit. How much more joy do we experience when we see people step into what makes them live life out loud? We pay big money, to go to movie theaters, to concerts, to purchase art. We pay big money to see and experience the things that people have listened to that inner voice within them. All the while, many of us sit back and we ignore that voice within us. This is what we're here for, is to experience and express the divine that we are. Now, Henry David Thoreau, he said, "Most men lead lives of quiet desperation and go to the grave with the song still in them." And I've used a very similar quote from that Wayne Dyer uses a lot as well. Wayne Dyer says, "Don't die with your music still in you." So what are we called to do? What is speaking to you? Now, I had to bring in something to lighten it up a little bit, because that's a pretty heavy quote. And luckily, it came right across my radar. So it's a cartoon. And for people that are unable to see it, it says, "Henry David Thoreau and Friends." And it says, "The mass of men lead lives of quiet desperation." And then here's his friends. "No, we don't. I'm happy. Life's great. You need to cheer up, Henry. Come out and have some fun." "Not tonight, thanks." And then he goes back to living his life of quiet desperation by himself. And so I think this is also just a good reminder. Like when I say living life out loud, yes, what are those things that fire us up, that get us wanting to move? And at the same time, we can't get caught up in all of that and taking life too serious. This is my message to myself right here, because I get all jazzed up about this kind of information of connecting with spirit, seeking out more and more and more. But if I don't remember to get out and laugh and have fun with my friends, then that's living life out loud too. And that's really just as important as everything we do. So now those circumstances that come up. So one of the things that it never really fully hit me until I was in practitioner training. So I had taken a lot of the classes. And this is not just a plug for classes, because as I do plug them, it's not for a drive for money. It's because I believe in the information. because the money isn't that substantial. It's a help to the center, but that's not how we survive. But the classes, learning, spiritual mind treatment, which is what we call affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. It's just a very effective form of prayer that shifts something within us, that shifts something in everything. And so it wasn't until practitioner training that I really got this hammered in, and it was that anytime you're starting something new, anytime you're confronted with a situation or a problem or a challenge, the first thing we do as practitioners, and I want to remind us that we are all practitioners, whether we're certified or not, we're all practitioners when we get into this philosophy. So the first thing we do is we pray. We go within. So living life out loud, what does that look like for you? If you don't know what that looks like for you, go into prayer. If you do know what that is, and you're wondering where to start, go into prayer. If you're wondering what roadblocks come up, or how to handle roadblocks, we go into prayer. So I'm going to bring in one more kind of lengthy quote from Ernest Holmes. So this comes from, originally he wrote it as I Believe, and it was in the Science of Mind magazine that we sell out in the lobby. That's been around for right at almost 100 years. It's about to have its anniversary, if it hasn't. It's like any month now. But he wrote this, it's what we now, as the Centers for Spiritual Living, use as what we call Declaration of Principles. And so this is one of them. It's a whole list, but this is the one that really resonates for this week. And it says that we believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that we are surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of our thoughts and acts upon it. Everything we think is a prayer. Everything that we say becomes a prayer. So what are we telling ourselves about that power within? What are we telling ourselves about our ability to live life out loud? So now as we start to do this, right away, what happens for me, and has traditionally happened, that's kept me from doing those things that I feel called to do, is I get that big idea and I want to do this thing. And then all of a sudden, it's this whole jumble of roadblocks. They're all there. All the reasons why I can't, or why it's going to be too hard, or why it's going to be really hard. And I might still have that inspiration, yeah, I'm going to do it. I just got to figure out how to, okay, there's that thing, so I'll have to figure that out. And then there's this thing. And then all of a sudden, I'm just kind of overwhelmed, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go back to scrolling the TV again. And that's where it ends up. But when we make that conviction to live our life of inspiration, then all those roadblocks that come up, they become our roadmap. So take time. When we start to lean into this, I really want to encourage you all, and myself as well, to continue working on this. What is that next thing that you want to experience in life? And sit down and make a list of all the challenges, all the reasons why we can't do that. And when it's all listed out, then we've got something to do. Just take one at a time and analyze it. Is it a real roadblock? If it is, then okay, how do I overcome that? Is it that I need money to do this thing? Okay, then that's a starting point. How do I get the money? Is it that I feel like maybe I'm too old to learn this new thing? Is that a real roadblock? We just think about it, no, it's absolutely not. That saying, that old dogs can't learn new tricks, that's been disproven a long time ago. Absolutely, if you are breathing, we can learn new things. But making that list, and then that becomes our way forward to living life out loud. Because it's all about leaning into that joy and into that pleasure, and then just being Spirit manifest. There's no big and no small. I'll finish with one joke that was shared with us from, remember Teresa Wilson? She shared this with us because we were talking about this subject in this From Whence We Came class, and this person, has the chance to speak to God and says, God, is it true that to you a billion years is like a second? And God's like, yes, absolutely. Wow. Is it true that $1 billion is like 1 penny to you? Yes, absolutely. Wow. Okay, then God, can I have a penny? And God says, yeah, in just a second. But it's all there. It's all there, and it's up to us to just look at those circumstances and recognize that we have an infinite power in ourselves. And it will inspire us when we ask it to inspire us, when we step into it. And that's where our power comes in, and that's where this philosophy comes in. And with that, what a better way than to just go into prayer and just take a second, if you will, and just create this space, recognizing that Spirit is in, throughout, and all around, right here and right now. That there is one infinite mind, and that all mind, all thought comes from that same well of consciousness. That there is only one life force. It is the same life energy that is in everything, animates everything, and breathes and grows and expands everything that creates those planets. And that we are that. Everything in our being comes from that exact same thing. There is nothing in any one of us that does not come from that place of the infinite. And we have free will and we have choice in all of that. So as we lean into the inspirations and the ideas that we have to express from a deeper place, we are backed up by that infinite power. So anytime that we recognize that we are this, that we go within and just express that desire to have the guidance, the inspiration, and the ideas, magic happens. But it's really just the way that the universe works. So I acknowledge that each and every person here is lifted up and blessed by that energy. That we all carry a light around us that protects us and serves us and gets us through those moments, over those circumstances, that inspires us to live our truest and most authentic self out loud. And that as we do, this entire universe prospers because of it. That we show others that it's okay to be themselves. That we recognize that we are all closer to each other than we are separate and different. That at the core of our being is the desire to be loved and to love and to express those inspirations that the universe gives to each and every one of us. So just knowing that as we go forward, that as we find our joy on the journey, that we are lifted up and that every day becomes meaningful and on purpose, and that as we do that, we are truly blessed. So may infinite blessings bestow upon each and every one hearing these words. May inspiration, strength, courage, authenticity, boldness, and bravery be there to support the needs and the desires and the expressions of each and every individual. And may we all flourish and live abundantly and prosperity and love and kindness and compassion, and let that ripple out throughout our entire being. So in gratitude for that law that is the creative mechanism of the universe, I say thank you. And I acknowledge that it is always working on our behalfs, so we lift our thoughts up into the high so that that becomes our reality in this world. So with that gratitude, I just affirm that this is already so as we cement this deal in the mind of Spirit by saying these words as we let it go. We say, and so it is. And so it is. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming along with me. What's your plan? All right. This is where we show our support and where we help continue the prosperity of this center, and we ensure our longevity as we give these messages, give this inspiration and this philosophy to more and more people, and coming together in community is the way that we do that. So you can give, the simplest way that I like is text to tithe. You text the dollar amount to 239-320-3820, and it'll get you set up if it's your first time. And then after that, all you have to do is send a dollar amount, and it's done. You can send a contribution through PayPal at cslcapecoral.org. So a handy donate button on our website at cslcapecoral.org. Of course, you can mail a check to us, and we will receive that in the office and file it where it needs to go at Center for Spiritual Living, Cape Coral, 406 Southeast 24th Avenue, Cape Coral, Florida, 33990. And lovely ushers, we have Louise and Fran that will be sending baskets around, and so you can place it right in there. And make sure that you fill out the envelope so we get your information, because it's all tax deductible, and we'll get that information to you at the end of the year. So with that, we have a tithing affirmation. So together, we can say, today, I know the activity of divine abundance is at work in my life and the life of this center. I give and I receive generously as I live in the flow of bountiful good. So, thank you, ushers.
Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good. Standing as one in the presence of the power, standing where others have stood. Gladly we offer the gifts of our abundance, knowing the source of our good.
So we just offer thanks for all contributions through time, treasure, talent, all the ways that people support this community. We give thanks for our wonderful ushers to serve in this sacred role. And we give thanks knowing that this is the abundant energy of the universe in one of the many forms that it shows up. So absolutely, we give and receive generously. And for it all, we are thankful. We know that this money is blessed, received, and multiplied as it just continues to serve in this wonderful capacity and this wonderful philosophy. So in deepest gratitude for all, I say thank you, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And B.
I am just continually blown away between the songs and the service. There was just so much that came up that I had contemplated during the week, and it came up today. And it's so funny, that quote about the children's laughter. The other day I was thinking about, what is love? Like, what is joy? And the first thing that popped in my mind was when you hear a baby giggle and laugh, and tiny children laugh, it's just so, like, it's just effervescent, it's like bubbly, and it just lifts your heart, like how could anybody not have their heart lifted when they hear a child laugh? So I want to wish you again happy 4th of July, and everybody have a safe weekend. Saturday, July 29th, Patty Carney and Karen Gidley are going to have a Reiki healing experience right here at the center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And they talk about you're going to relax the body and mind, healing old wounds, shifting misconceptions, and to create an opening for the authentic soul. And then you can radiate brightly in the world. So this is $40 in advance and $50 at the door. It includes a light lunch. I really wish I would be here that weekend, but unfortunately I'm going to be on vacation. So I'm kind of bummed about that because it's great. The Reiki sessions are great. And the new meeting, the 11th step meditation, I don't know who's facilitating that.
So one of our new people that has joined us started this meeting, and he hasn't been able to be here to talk about it. And so since it is, an anonymous organization, I won't say his name. I'll leave that up to him if he wants to share that information. But it's himself, and then a friend of his is actually going to be the facilitator.
Okay.
But it's 12-step meetings. It's open to all, so it's not just AA. It can be any form of 12-step groups. I believe Al-Anon is also, well, I know Al-Anon is also welcome because I also know that it's what they call an open meeting, which means you do not have to have any addictions or anything to come and just check it out. And so from what I hear, it's a really powerful experience. It begins with the meditation, and then there's a speaker on the 11th step, which is the area like where we're talking about keeping our side of the street clean, and then a 20-minute open discussion. And so this is open to everybody here, as well as they're also promoting it through the overall 12-step website and organization here in Fort Myers and Cape Coral. So we'll welcome outsiders, but it's also welcome to us, and who knows, we might turn some outsiders into insiders because the philosophies work together very well. So
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I was going to try to make it on Thursday. I have never been in a 12-step program, but I looked up the 11th step, and I forget exactly what it said, but I thought it was pretty interesting. So maybe this Thursday I'll get here. And don't forget our midweek tune-up. This is a spiritual discussion group based on the daily reading out of the Science of Mind magazine, and they meet every Wednesday from noon to 1:30 p.m. This time of year it would be in the lobby. I don't think anybody wants to sit outside right now, although it is beautiful property, and when you're out there you see the bunnies and the squirrels and the birds and everything. I just love it. And don't leave here without your 1-minute miracle. Our practitioners will be up front for any affirmative prayer that you may need for any situations in your life. And thank you, and have a wonderful week, and see you here next Sunday.
Here we go.
Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Have a wonderful week.
Happy 4th.